as a disclaimer before our video starts, we do have to switch to my iPad as we've had too many issues with the camera that we're currently using. So I apologize for any kind of shakiness in the camera or anything like that. I'm going to try to keep it still, but that's all I got to say. War Light recap!
Ow!
That was the weirdest noise ever. Don't ever make that noise ever again.
Hi guys, and welcome to Married with Clix. Today we are doing our War of Light Month 1 recap for you. So, brand new set. I've been following like mad all of the previews that have been going up on Newsarama. Jason hasn't. For once, this is actually a set I've been pre-looking into. Jason hasn't. So, I had a good idea of what I might come up in, or what might come up in my boosters. So, one booster I got Hanu, Boudica, Bedouin, Ganthet. This is the Blue Lantern Ganthet. And Sister Cersei. And then the next one, I got Mongol, Orange Lantern Hal Jordan, a green recruit, a yellow recruit, and a blue recruit, and the orange ring.
Mine!
So when I was looking at building my team for Sealed, I wanted to have one big heavy hitter. So I was looking between these three, Ganthet, Hanu, and Mongol. And Ganthet, for me, felt a little too pricey, even though he's really good at what he does. I didn't want to spend 175 points for him, so he went out right away. So then I was looking between Mongol and Hanu. And they're about the same price. Mongol's 5 points more. So I started just comparing their abilities and their stats. And they're pretty similar, but right off the bat, Mongol's indomitable. Hanu isn't. Mongol has 12 movement, 11 attack, 18 defense, 4 damage. Hanu has 10 movement, 11 attack, 17 defense, and 4 damage. So just playing the numbers game for the 5 points more, I decided to go with Mongol. So then I had to figure out what I was going to support him with. And there's only so many things I could fit in there. At 115 points, I didn't want to put Bedouin in because then I couldn't put anything else, even though he's got that awesome power where Lines of Fire is blocked to him if nobody's within 2 squares of him. I actually honestly didn't even look at Boudica. I looked at Orange Lantern Hal Jordan, but at 88 points, I didn't really feel comfortable being able to put anything else in there. So I landed on Sister Cersei, who is awesome. She's a great support piece. At 66 points, she does a lot. She perplexes up any combat value. She's got TK, she's got willpower, she's got prob. And she's got a 10 attack and 2 damage. So if you need her to attack, she can. Which left me with the recruits, and since I had Mongol, who's a Yellow Lantern, I went with the Yellow Lantern recruit. Now, for our venue, we were also allowed to use any of the participation prizes that were handed out. So we had the Lantern Battery, the Power Battery, and the Crossbow. And then we were also allowed to use, if you had bought the Scenario Pack, the Green Lantern Ring, and the Shield that came out of that. So I put those together. I put the Power Battery, Green Lantern Ring, and the Shield, bringing my team up to a full 299, which is a little rare to do in Sealed. So my first round was up against a young guy named Jordan. His team was Bedouin, Lysidrak, and it's not Tomar Ray. It's
Rotmat Roo.
Rotmat Roo, the Orange Lantern, Yellow Lantern. He looks orange. The Yellow Lantern bird guy. I'm sorry, I don't know the species name. Anyways, that was his 3 teams. So I was packing an ultra heavy, a heavy, and a light, putting my team there. He moved his team forward, I moved my team forward, and then it was basically Mongol's got a 12 movement, so it was a 6 movement charge with an ultra heavy. I based his Lysidrak and his Bedouin. Now I went after Lysidrak first, because she's got that prob. And I ended up, he probbed me, I missed, I probbed, I missed, lost my Ultra Heavy. Now I'm based to Lissa and Beethoven. Now he was really scared of my Mongol because of what he could do, but also because he wasn't doing a whole lot of damage. So he ended up getting Beethoven out of there, didn't want him based with Mongol, and tried to get Lissa out, but couldn't get her to move. So I tried to attack again, ended up missing, came back to him, and Lissa is only doing 2 damage on her opening, but she does have a power with her Perplex that she can use Perplex, and then when she does, friendly characters gain Precision Strike when targeting the character that was perplexed. And it's very specific to the targeting the character that was perplexed. So he kept trying to perplex my Mongol, but I had at that point given my Mongol the power battery and given him the shield construct, which allowed him to use the Green Lantern ring, which was giving him a 50-50 chance of shrugging off someone's outwit or perplex. So every time she went to perplex down my defense, I would ignore it, therefore she wasn't getting her Precision Strike, and she couldn't get past my Impervious. So a couple turns later, Lissa Drac was out of the way. So he was playing very defensively with his Beethoven and his
Rotmatru.
And so I was basically just advancing and advancing and advancing. I couldn't hit. He was TKing Beethoven around and keeping him out of the way rather than attacking him, basically forcing me to go to him, trying to get a few attacks in. He did manage to do a lot of damage to my Mongol, but not enough to take him out. Did bring him down back to an 11 attack, and close combat expert, which he was already doing 3 damage at. So with Sister Circe's Perplex up to a 12 attack, bringing the close combat expert up to a 5 damage, using the Sinestro Corps recruit to perplex down his defense, Beethoven was just wiped. He was a smashed open little mollusk.
Escargot, anyone?
And then it only took a couple more turns to take out Rotmatru, and I was having the Sinestro Corps recruit running shot in, doing damage. Sister Circe was taking shots. Mongol was still managing to smash face, and I did a clean sweep on his. My second round, I was up against a buddy of ours, Ryan, who we actually play up against every week. So I know his play styles, I know what he likes to do with figures, I know how he plays when, much like against Jason, when I go up against someone that I play with on a weekly basis, and this is in a home environment too, so he's always at our place playing, I know kind of where I stand in going up against him skill for skill. So he was one of the many people that were lucky enough to pull the Warrior of Cord. Weaponer, sorry. I always call him the Warrior. The Weaponer of Cord. And he had the Orange Lantern Hal Jordan with his, and that was his team. So we were playing on the Coast City map, which is a lot of elevated, which is actually helps my team a lot. And there's a bit of blocking right down the middle. There's a strip of 2x4 blocking right down the middle. So he had moved forward, hiding behind that blocking. I had moved forward a little bit, just positioning, getting enough for Mongol to get the Ultra Heavy, for Sister Circe to be up on elevated for prob. I had the recruit up on elevated with her to be able to running shot later. And so Mongol was down in front of them, and I ended up TKing Mongol up to the top of the building where he was hiding and charged with a heavy object around to Hal Jordan and got him and one-shotted him with the heavy object, doing 7 damage. Now, I could have gone the opposite side and attacked the Weaponer, but I decided to go with Hal Jordan because he only had 17 defense with toughness. I figured I would have an easier chance taking him out, whereas the Weaponer had 18 defense with impervious, so he does have that roll-off, and then he's also going to be reducing, so even if I get a chance that he doesn't roll his impervious, I'm only doing 5 damage, and I wasn't sure where that was going to put him in this character that was so strong. He had paid the full 211 for him. so I knew he had a deep dial. So I instead decided to one-shot the Hal Jordan, get myself some points, and then go from there. So as soon as Hal Jordan was taken out, the Weaponer one-shotted Mongol with an ultra-heavy object, doing 8 damage straight through because he's got exploit weakness as well. And then the Weaponer basically came back to where my recruit and Sister Cersei was. They tried to take some pot shots, couldn't manage to get anything in on him, came back to the power battery, and with the power battery, whenever somebody KOs, much like the Phoenix Force, their construct comes back to the power battery. So when it came back, I put the shield on Sister Cersei, bringing her defense up to a 19 at range. She still got close combat smashed. And then the recruit was there with his construct, and I had pushed the power battery to get the construct on him, so now I had Perplex at a range of 1, so I brought the recruit back to the power battery to be able to perplex up his defense. Still wasn't enough to protect myself against the Weaponer, and that round lasted about maybe 10-15 minutes. So my final round, I was up against one of a new player to our venue named Calvin, and he was playing the Weaponer of Cord and a blue lantern that I'm not familiar with. Unfortunately, I don't know the name right now. I'll look him up and put the name down here for you guys. So, unfortunately, after my round that I had just done with Ryan, the Weaponer became a huge target for me. So I was determined to take that guy out. So I'd done the same thing where I had set up, I had moved Mongol forward, got him the extra heavy, or the ultra heavy object, moved Cersei and the recruit in a position where she could prob for me and he could running shot in later. So I had charged with Mongol, hit him with the ultra heavy. He missed his impervious, so I did do that 5 damage, which does wound him fairly well, but he's still in a position where he can hurt me back. Yeah, so it puts him on a clip where he's got Flurry, 10 attack, precision strike, and outwit.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, sorry guys, we're going to tell you what's going on here. And so he's got a power set that is still really good against my Mongol, so he would manage to get a shot in. His Blue Lantern guy had prob as well, so we were going back and forth between the two of them, probbing. Some hits were landing. I got my second attack in with Mongol, doing another 4 damage, and knocked out the Weaponer. Basically, did 4 damage. I was hitting with Cersei, I was hitting with the recruit, knocked that guy out, and I was just right in wanting to get rid of that guy. So then it came down to his other little Blue Lantern guy. I was a little hurt with Mongol, but my other 2 were still at full strength, and they're not bad for 50 and 66 points at full strength. They're pretty good, especially with the recruit having his minion power, where if he's within 8 range or 8 squares of another yellow lantern, he gets +1 to his damage. So he was actually doing a fair amount of damage. So it didn't take me too long to wear down his other little guy, and my 3rd round was a clean sweep. So I was not upset, but it was a little shame that my 2nd round I went up against someone and only scored 88 points, where my 1st round and my last round I did complete clean sweeps, getting their entire turn teams and not losing any points. So for my War of Light month 1, I went 2-1 with a buttload of points.
War of Light, I've been looking forward to this for a while. I'm a big Green Lantern fan, and I wanted as many surprises as possibly could get. So, as a result, I didn't look at too many of the previews, but I did catch one, and it would have been one of the last ones, which was the Weaponer of Cord. That comes into effect in a couple seconds. So let's talk about my pulls here. So our venue, we were lucky enough to get 2 packs of War of Light, and I'm sure you guys already see it. This was the first pack I opened. My pack consisted of the the controller construct of the Orange Lanterns, Arisia, Crib from the Yellow Lantern Corps, or Arisia being of the Green Lantern Corps, and I got the Weaponer of Cord, and I got Sister Cersei. My team practically built itself on the first pack, and the second pack was really just for bonus points. Speaking of bonus points, my second pack, I pulled a Boudica, 75-point character, pretty reasonable. A Green Lantern Recruit, very, very solid character, had I not pulled a Weaponer or a Sister Cersei. Alyssa Drack, who is pretty cool. Amber talked about her in her second game. And I managed to pull a super rare and a common prime. I got way more value in my second pack than I should have got. Because I got the Parallax Kyle Rayner, who of course comes with, you know, I keep calling him Despolitis because he's a disease. Despotelus, who is actually the one I want out of these two. So I was happy to pull that. And then I pulled Tomar 2, the Prime, who comes with the net. Now, unfortunately, I won't be able to use the net in later months of the event because I'll have to pull that again to use it. But it's great to have it for the Green Lantern power plant, their power battery. So, suffice to say, this was my team with a power battery. Sister Cersei with her increasing perplex, TK, probability control, you can't go wrong with that. Weaponer of Cord at 211 points, just sells himself. That's 277 points, throw on a power battery with a crossbow, and that was my team. I was thinking about the shield, the energy shield, but when it comes down to it, if I was playing against ranged, I was ready to lose already. So why not throw the crossbow on? In all honesty, it was really there just for some extra stats and some possible extra perplexes. So, which I incidentally forgot in the first round. In the first round, I played against a fellow of ours, buddy of ours, that plays in our regular weekly game in our kitchen. His name is Joel. Very famous for eBaying a lot of things. An unfortunate stigma he got. But he is actually starting to cool it quite a bit of late. And he's, I think he's starting to understand that being the first isn't necessarily the most important thing. But he also happened to pull the Weaponer of Cord. And on his team he also had a Rotnat Root. So at 288 points I had to fight a Yellow Lantern or Sinestro Corps themed team. The bonus is that we played on not the Coast City side of the map, but the other side, whose name escapes me right now, but it has a lot of stairs. It's pretty much a straight line. So he played off, from his point of view, he put his figures off to the left. And I used my Sister Cersei advantage of telekinesis, perplexed up my Weaponer of Cord's attack. Unfortunately, I had misplaced my objects, so my Ultra Heavy object was off to a side that I couldn't get to it, and it wasn't an option to give me super strength and use that Ultra Heavy object to smack his Weaponer of Cord for a lot of damage. So my game was going to take a little bit longer than necessary. But I TK'd him up, charged his Weaponer of Cord, rolled double sixes. He used his theme prob from Rotnat Rue, or no, it was from his Weaponer. I rolled another critical hit. The poor guy took 6 straight through on his Weaponer of Cord on my first attack. And right there I was just like, this is not going to go well for him. Second turn I got it down to its life click. After he tried to make a counterattack, I chose poison. Weaponer of Cord goes down on his last click, and then it's just a matter of time before Rotnat Rue is chased down by the Weaponer of Cord. Turn 4, I think this game was over. This was a taste of things to come, apparently. I'm going to put a disclaimer in right now. I don't think I played particularly well. I played a lot, but what I ended up playing was a lot of teams that my team was ready to beat. And that came to a huge advantage for myself. So when all was said and done, it came down to the matchups, and I won the matchups right off the bat. So let's talk about the second round. Second round, my opponent was playing the Kyle Rayner Parallax and Despotelus. He played the Common Cold. We incidentally I discovered this after the turn, but he was playing it a little incorrectly. He left the disease, I'm going to refer to it as the disease, in his starting area, and then when I moved my characters, he moved it adjacent to mine. That's not how it works. I discovered this late in the game, but I generally trust my opponent with regards to things like that, so I shouldn't. But when it came down to it, it didn't make a huge difference.
He should have been carrying Despotilus with Kyle Rayner, and then when I based Kyle Rayner with Weaponer, started moving him from there. Hindsight's 20/20 because what happened was playing on the Coast City map. He positioned on the opposite side of the center building as I positioned, or as I from my side. So I positioned carrying with Sister Cersei the Weaponer of Cord forward to the same position, and then he cleared. I guess he didn't realize that Kyle Rayner had Quintessence, which I actually discovered he didn't realize after the game. So he wasn't up for pushing him, period. But what I did after that on my turn was I perplexed up my Weaponer of Cord's defense, chose Super Strength as my power, went with the Ultra Heavy Object that I actually had in a better position this time, moved my Sister Cersei within view of the Kyle Rayner, an elevated terrain so I could look down on him and down on my Weaponer of Cord, charged with the Weaponer of Cord, and hit for 8 damage straight through, putting Kyle Rayner on his last click, which incidentally is 18 defense with Generation. Because we were playing Despotelus wrong, he was adjacent to my Weaponer of Cord as a result. Didn't really make a difference. Because the next turn he did his Penetrating Poison, and then he rolled Regeneration with Kyle Rayner. His Regeneration was a roll of 4, but because I put Cersei on the roof, I made him prob it down to a 1. So he got no health regeneration from Kyle Rayner's regen attempt. And the next turn with the Weaponer of Cord, I chose Poison, which killed Kyle Rayner, did 1 damage to Despotelus, and then I had Sister Cersei perplex up the Weaponer's damage, or attack value, and then he attacked Despotelus, killing Despotelus on a turn 3 or 4 kill. I wasn't paying attention. If you guys are paying attention to what turn, you guys will know. Turn 3 or 4, this was done. Every game I was the first game done. Shocking my judge. It's like, we'd all get sat down, he'd call time started, play the game, and then I'd call for points on our game. Third game, final game, going in, 2 clean sweeps, 288 points in the first round, 290 something in the second round because he did have a power battery with his Kyle Rayner and Despotelus.
You were sitting at 581.
I was sitting at 581. Amber was paying really close attention, apparently.
I was judging.
She was helping judge. So my opponent, Amber was already described, was Ryan, who had a Weaponer of Cord and an Orange Lantern Hal Jordan. He knew from the get-go I had the advantage. He kind of tried to space himself out, but I used my Perplex advantage to... What I did was I used Perplex from Sister Cersei. After putting the crossbow on the Weaponer of Cord, I rolled for my damage, rolled on the Perplex click, and since I'm Colossal and both of them were sitting on top of a building, I perplexed his attack up and his movement up to the necessary range that I need to get to hit his Weaponer of Cord for 8 damage. Yeah. So Weaponer of Cord takes 8 damage. I don't quite remember what click... It's on his life click. And then he rolled his regeneration. This is now, I think, turn 3. He rolled his regeneration, rolled a 3, gets 1 click back. I choose Poison the next turn. He goes back down to the life click, and then I attack the Weaponer of Cord, killing the Weaponer of Cord. And then I've got Hal Jordan to deal with. And, Hal Jordan did some damage to the Weaponer of Cord. The Weaponer of Cord didn't go the whole tournament without taking damage. He took 1 or 2 pretty consistently every game. But I threw him in there with the expectation he'd take some damage, just not enough to put him in a crippling state. So, and then it was a matter of beating down on the Orange Lantern Hal Jordan. For those of you who mapped that one out, a Weaponer of Cord plus an Orange Lantern Hal Jordan is a 299-point team. So on points, I'm sitting very good. So we're waiting on one more game, which could possibly determine what happened. Not enough points were scored. I got my first event win in a long time. I got myself a Larfleece. I was really excited because of all the prizes, him, Atrocitus, and Star Sapphire are the ones I really want. The Carol Ferris, Star Sapphire Curse. So, really pumped that I got the Larfleece. He's mine. Mine. Mine! Mine! Yeah. Now I'm on a major hunt to get some constructs to play with him because I really like this character for whatever. I can't even fathom what. mentality of how much I like this character is, but I love him. So all in all, the matchups really worked out for me. I guess with the points, the scores, the way they were going, I ended up scoring scoring well enough to play against matching point values, and matching point values were teams that my team was better against. We had a turnout of 24 people. So there was some teams that honestly my team could have had a lot of problems with. Mostly any team that had 3 feasible characters. There was also one team that had a Weapon of Cord at 135 points and Mongol at 165. That's 300 point even team. He ended up going 3 wins but only scoring 3rd because I guess his matchups, the guys he was playing against, he didn't get all the points off of them. So Mike, he played his butt off, and he still ended up getting a fellowship Larfleeze anyway. So everybody played their butts off there. It was great to see so many people show up. The Comic Warehouse is a fantastic place to play. Nobody judges you for playing the meta, and it's a very competitive environment, but we all understand. Nobody gives each other a hard time about it. So we were happy to have that many people show up. Happy to play in the War of Light. Love the set so far. I want more and more and more of this. I want to play at more venues possibly just to get the packs. I've got Larfleeze, so I mean, if I get him, he's just trade bait at this point. But yeah, that was our War of Light. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys at the Comic Warehouse for putting up such an awesome venue so far. And we really look forward to more War of Light and more other type events as well. On the horizon, we are actually planning, in conjunction with the Comic Warehouse, an event hosted by yours truly, the Married with Clix guys. More to come on that. Keep your eyes open for that. In the meantime, keep watching, and we love you guys.